Start. There has been some criticism, and it has been pointed out that some efficient states are penalized and some not so efficient states are being compensated at the cost of the relatively affluent states. Stop. Sir, comma, I do not agree with this view and I do not subscribe to the contention mainly because of the fact that the affluence of a state or relatively better performance of the states to some extent would be obviously as a result of better management, comma, but to a considerable extent it is because of the historical facts also. Stop. The economy which we inherited from the British system, comma, from the British rulers for certain historical reasons was that there were some pockets of development in this country like Calcutta, comma, Bombay and Madras, comma, and large parts of the country were not at all developed and there was no attention paid at all. Stop. So, comma, it was quite natural that after independence and after accepting the planned economy, comma, it was thought that we must lay due emphasis on the development of backward areas. Stop. And the 8th Finance Commission has put a concrete shape by giving weightage to the backwardness in the formula which I have just explained to you. Stop. In respect of the additional excise duty also, comma, they have changed the formula. Stop. In respect of additional excise duty in lieu of sales tax earlier, comma, as you know, on commodities hyphen textiles, comma, tobacco and sugar hyphen a different type of formula was prescribed by the 7th Finance Commission. Stop. But the 8th Finance Commission has recommended a uniform percentage for all the three commodities hyphen as I have mentioned them hyphen which is 50% on the basis of domestic production and 50% on the basis of population. Stop. As a result of the recommendations of the 8th Finance Commission, comma, the net transfer to the states over a period of 5 years would be around rupees 40,000 crores, which is double of rupees 20,000 crores, comma, the net transfer over a period of 5 years from 1979 to 1984 as recommended by the 7th Finance Commission. Stop. Para. As I mentioned earlier, comma, I have accepted all the major recommendations of the 8th Finance Commission. Stop. Obviously, I could not accept one recommendation, comma, and that was strictly speaking, comma, not within the purview of the terms of reference. Stop. But still, the Finance Commission made its recommendation. Stop. That is about the devolution of the surtax and merging it with income tax. Stop. Para. Obviously, comma, we could not accept it because it provides a lot of resources to the union government, comma, and the constitution contemplated it. Stop. And in the relevant articles of the constitution where they discussed which would be the areas of the union taxation or the areas of the state taxation and what would be the distribution between the states and the center, comma, over a period of years, comma, we have built up a convention. Stop. The Finance Commission is a constitutional body, comma, appointed by the President under the relevant provisions of the Constitution. Stop. But at the same time, one point is to be kept in mind that it is not correct to say that every time every recommendation of every Finance Commission has been accepted by the government in its entirety. Stop. There are a number of precedents, and I would just like to draw the attention of the honorable members to three major departures where the Finance Commission's recommendations were not accepted by the government. Stop. One such recommendation by one Finance Commission was that 75% of revenue gap of the states will have to be met through grant in aid. Stop. That recommendation of the Finance Commission was not accepted by the Union government. Stop. Another recommendation in respect of certain states was when they increased the salaries of certain employees. Stop. And it was not taken into account by the Finance Commission, but the government took it into account while working out the devolution of the grant in aid. Stop. And the third major departure where the recommendation of the Finance Commission was not accepted was of the recommendation of the 7th Finance Commission, which the Finance Minister, Mr. Patel, did not consider it feasible to accept the recommendation. Stop. The recommendation was that the entire loss caused by prohibition, if a state accepts it, is to be compensated by the union government, and this recommendation was also not accepted. Stop. Apart from that, there have been a number of occasions where the recommendations of the Finance Commission were not accepted in toto. Stop. But, at the same time, the tradition which we built up, we accept all the major recommendations, and particularly the recommendations in respect of the devolution of taxes and in respect of grant in aid. We have accepted the recommendations of all the finance commissions, and this time also I did not depart from it. Stop.